Welcome back everyone to the Blue Gender Retrospective. For this nice episode in this retrospective series, we're going to do an odd hybrid episode, which is part character episode and part theme episode. While I was looking over the themes of this series, I wanted to cover one that would be a little more pleasant, seeing as this is supposed to be a nice episode. And so I've come to the conclusion that one of the most pleasant themes of this series to cover is the point that everyone does have an impact. And while this impact may be negative sometimes, oftentimes it's also positive. To see how Blue Gender proves this, we're not actually going to look at the main characters, but some of the supporting casts that just weren't in long enough to get an episode dedicated to themselves. In this case, we're going to be looking at the characters of Joey and Dice, and how they fit into the story briefly, and more importantly, how even their briefest of presence can have a positive impact on the main cast, showing that anyone can positively impact anyone even if they're not in contact with them for the longest of time. Now to begin this positive message, we have the character of Joey. Joey's a member of the original extraction team that rescues Yuji, and basically the guy that takes him in, tries to teach him stuff, and serves as a relatable tether to the group. He's nowhere near as cold as the rest of the extraction team when we first meet him, and he's very willing and able to teach Yuji the secrets and techniques of being a soldier of the future. He's actually very nice, and him and Yuji seem to get along quite well, and even seem to form a healthy friendship between each other. As partners in the two-seater mech, they no doubtably grow close in a professional sense as well, and Yuji is undoubtedly very negatively hurt by Joey's passing, a passing which he unfortunately has to witness in brutal detail up close. Next, there's the character of Dice. Dice is a ex-soldier who has abandoned the cause and now kind of just lives on his own, and I assume somewhere in Central Asia. Now Dice at first seems very gruff and very standoffish, although once Yuji gets to know him, we can see that he's actually a very friendly and respectable man. He goes out of his way to make sure that when he restrains a rude Marlene, it's in the least harmful way possible, and he never actively disrespects her or Yuji. He always tries to crack a joke to one of them and is always warm and supportive of them, although he does make it clear that he's not going back to Second Earth, having been content in his current living situation. Again, while Dice is only around for a couple episodes, he does positively impact the group. He basically saves them when they come upon his oasis, and even forgives them after Marlene tries to boss him around and basically steal all of his stuff. He even agrees to go with them to the space base, something which they would have had to do on foot otherwise, so again, he's very much a positive contributor to the team for the brief amount of time he's on it. In a more nuanced sense, he even serves as a good mentor or sort of older role model for Yuji, where all of the future people Yuji has met up until this point are very cold or inhuman, with the possible exception of Joey. Dice is a warmer, older, more mature figure to help Yuji maintain some kind of faith in humanity and maintain some kind of human contact, to realize that sometimes you simply just need to live and take it slow. And these characters embody this idea that even if your contact with someone isn't for the longest amount of time, or isn't the most major on the surface, you can still have a positive impact on someone. Simply reaching out to someone and trying to connect with them and supporting them can have a positive impact on them for the long term. Now when I say reach out to them and try to support them, I don't mean, go out of your way to learn everything about this dude and try to talk to him hours on end about whatever's bothering him. No, I just mean simply maintaining normal, healthy human interaction. Simply talking to someone, even if it is about nothing in particular, can have a very important impact on them, as it allows them to feel welcome. It allows them to feel human. And of course, exploring one's humanity is very important. Simply being a decent human being can have an impact far greater than what it may seem. Joey is just giving Yuji some basic technical training and being generally nice. However, what this does is it lets Yuji feel accepted finally, and it gives him many important, basically life skills, in order to help him succeed later in the series. Joey is arguably Yuji's mentor, in fact. He's arguably the guy that gets Yuji on track to becoming a great soldier. But, all the while, he doesn't abandon Yuji's humanity. While Yuji is being trained to be a great soldier, Joey still has many positive and normal friendly interactions with him, humanizing him, and letting him know that he can be human and a soldier. Joey's simple, friendly interactions set up Yuji to be someone who is both a great fighter, and yet still maintains his human core. Now I think Yuji would have maintained his humanity regardless of what Joey did, but Joey's positive presence early on in the series helped Yuji maintain some kind of positive air, at least early on. And the skills he teaches Yuji definitely lay the foundation for Yuji's skills later on. Dice, as a very friendly and open, honest man, helps humanize Yuji and helps him maintain his own humanity, as by this point, most of his interactions have either been with Joey, who's dead, or Marlene, who is still pretty cold. Dice comes in as a sort of positive, older, I don't want to say father figure, but respectable older gentleman character who lets Yuji know that he's on the right track and not to sweat the small details. Again, while Dice only has a couple poignant conversations with Yuji about this kind of big message is a thing that sticks with someone. So even if it wasn't delivered super seriously, and even if it wasn't delivered multiple times, it's still something that sticks with, if not Yuji, then us, with the viewers. And in this way, his impact is simply promoting positive human interactions, both on the Yuji and the viewer. In this case, Dice is promoting simply enjoying the company of those around you, not stressing over the small things, not taking everything so seriously. As someone who has faced great loss, Dice having lost his partner, he understands that simply being around someone is very often a joy in and of itself, and that you should treasure those around you, the people that you do have. I would also like to note that there's actually a good many interactions between Dice and Marlene, and that while some of them don't necessarily seem the most friendly, Dice does seem kind of poke and prod at her a little bit, it is an important series of interactions as it does alert Marlene to her own feelings. Dice is among the first people to tell her, hey, maybe you do care about Yuji, and it helps enhance the reflecting process. It helps Marlene start to come to accept her own feelings, and even if it does seem a little rude on Dice's part, it does seem like he either is genuinely trying to help her come into contact with her own emotions, or it's harmless enough to the point where I can't really hold it against him, considering that, she did try to basically steal all his stuff a few days ago. Again, this is an impact that greatly exceeds what Dice actually does. He's only around for a few episodes, has a few fun lines, makes a few jokes, does some driving, but doesn't really do much on a surface level. But again, his positive impact and his positive actions have had an impact that greatly surpasses what he does on a surface level. This lets us see that even bit characters can greatly impact the world around them. It can greatly impact the plot. It can greatly impact those they interact with. Just him saving the main character alone shows that this guy, who, he doesn't really have much screen time, still can have a big impact. And this in turn says that we, as individuals, can still have a big impact in important moments, even if it doesn't necessarily feel like that at any point in time. I think it's obvious from many of my videos on this channel that I'm a big believer in, just go out there and do your best. And a lot of these characters really drive this point home. Sure, none of them are really in more than 5 or 6 episodes. Sure, none of them are that prominent, but just by going out, just by doing what needs to be done, they're still having a very positive impact on the world around them. An impact which greatly surpasses what you might expect them to have, considering that they're not the, main characters, they're not really at the forefront, they're just kind of in the background being supportive. Being supportive is something that can lead to greatness. You can still have a very good positive impact. You can still improve someone's life in a way that surpasses what presence you may think you have. The individual still has the ability to make life better for everyone, even if they don't necessarily know that. Everyone can have a positive impact.